You want me to introduce everyone? Oh, well, we have Bumblebee, who just went over 1,000 subscribers. Going to have a party soon. Everybody check out Bumblebee. We got MathPig, which I'm not going to show that guy. And of course, the wonderful Marty Camejo, tending to something right now. We'll be back soon as Marty can make it back. All right, so where are we at? Are we gonna review this whole Jubilees thing? Is that what you got planned, or are we doing something else?
Have I got anything planned? I've nothing planned.
Hey,
right, hold on. Put up with the badness for 1 second before I just explained about the on-off thing, but I need to swap it round, and we'll do both at the same time because Minnow just joined as well. We'll lose everything, and it all should come back now. Boom.
Your craft room looks completely different. Just shuffle some stuff around. Looks like you're doing some green screen stuff back there. What's up?
Yeah, I'm moving a lot of stuff around. Some of it was just convenience. But also, yeah, I kind of have like a weatherman, set up over here. But...
Okay, there's that. Oh, this is.
How are you?
You going to be doing some educational stuff, Minnow?
A little bit.
Good. It's about reproductive rights?
No, not far off. I'm sure you heard what we did across the fucking river.
Yeah. I've been more focused on Oklahoma, but yeah.
For those of you who don't know, on the same day that the overall athletic board, they basically banned trans women who've been through male puberty from being on elite sports teams. On the same day that Missouri decided to pass a law banning puberty blockers for kids, and it's just like. I'm sorry.
Oklahoma banned them for kids and adults.
What are they calling a kid?
Under 18. Under 18 or under 16? I'm not sure which one passed. But it's like.
Well, in Oklahoma, it passed for adults too. It's gross. You can't get gender affirming care legally in Oklahoma anymore.
That seems like it should be against some right somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Should be, right?
It seems like it should be. I don't know law, but...
So, I actually... one of the states I work in is Oklahoma, so... I just hope I don't ever get relocated there. Cause...
Just give me 1 second. I'm just... You talk away there. I'm trying to just... set this up for us to share screen.
Yeah.
Well, we were actually doing okay till you said that.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead, Minnow.
we were making small talk while you were.
Yeah. I was wearing my Math Minnow Palooza shirt earlier today.
I wear mine sometimes too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they turn out pretty good.
I don't wear a lot of t-shirts, but when I do, it's a MathPig Palooza. Math Pig. Yeah, that's.
We made it the most complicated name ever. It's.
There we go. Right, that should work. Okay.
I like that layout you got going on right now, Robbie.
I just whacked that together in 2 seconds.
You can even add more people across the top there.
Yes, I know. I've built it with 9 in mind, with 8 in mind, but I haven't got the Hangout for 9 at the minute. We've only got the 8. We've only got the Hangout for 5. But we could swap if other people do join. I could probably run into the other one, but none of that.
You could squeeze another one in there for 6. You could. Just saying. No, I guess you're sharing the screen. Never mind.
I'm sharing the screen, and it's taking up the camera feed, and I'm sharing the camera. That's why Google doesn't look just as nice,
Oh well.
Somebody just popped in.
It's legible on my screen, so it's probably fine.
Hey, Steph.
Stephanie's here.
Okay.
Hi.
Right. So we now have to change this whole thing again. Give me a second.
We're gonna change it for you, Stephanie. so
Stephanie
you can
is
see.
taking up the whole screen at the minute.
Right now, you're big and bright. You look like you're wearing day glow.
That
Really?
is a nice clean orange.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, we're just gonna stare at you and make it very uncomfortable. No one's gonna say anything, and we're just gonna be really quiet and stare at you like you're supposed to be saying something.
Stephanie! Just shout.
Just
Stephanie!
Just point to the map behind you and talk. Whatever.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Boom. How's that? That should work now. Okay.
Are you
Yeah,
on
that's what I was
Discord or
talking
something? Is
about.
that what's? They are looking at a different screen on Discord. We only get to see the Google screen, Stephanie. Like,
Okay, you
No,
can
on
see the Google
Discord.
screen though. Can't just everybody here should be sharing and see the shared screen.
Yeah, I can see the Google screen. I can see all
I
you
can see-
guys.
Yeah,
I
'cause
can see the Google screen, but it just says
I'm-
Google.
I'm double screen sharing. Okay.
He's
So-
just making sure it's set up. I can see clearly now. the rain is gone.
Boom,
Right.
boom.
We'll
I
start
can
here.
see
Book
all-
of Jubilees.
There's
Okay.
Jubilees. There we go. Lesser Genesis is regular Genesis the better Genesis? Is this Genesis 2?
Yeah, we're already at 250% zoom. Yeah, that's maximum zoom.
No, I'm zoomed. I wonder why you don't have dark mode, but that's not for me to decide. You hate our eyes. That's
No,
So
I have
what
dark
is the
mode on
Genesis-
everything, but I
Oh.
don't have dark mode in the computer. That's
Good.
why I don't like using the. Like my
It's
Twitter's
still
dark
the
mode, my
Genesis of
YouTube's
the
dark mode.
universe?
Pardon?
The Book of Jubilees.
Well, the reason we're doing this is to get a wee bit of history, and I thought Wikipedia would be a good starting point. You know, as it's a starting point, as I say, not an
So-
ending point.
is Jubilees. Let's see. It's canonical with the same under the same
I think the
under the same churches as the Book of Enoch. it
Right,
looks
we're gonna go
like.
back
Looks
here.
like it.
Okay, that
Okay.
sounds. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, because it looks like the Ethiopian Orthodox are the only ones still that still use it, and they're the ones that schismed way back before like Nicaea and everything.
This is the main question that I think Richard had. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? You know, which is
Yes,
older,
sir.
the Book of Genesis or the Book of Jubilees? Yes, Richard.
Job is part of Genesis, and Job is the oldest, so Genesis would be oldest. I know Job is older than Jubilees.
Yeah, but Job is after.
Right. Okay. Book of Jubilees here is saying in just the Google search, right?
Uh-huh.
That's how old it is. Now we know that the first one was written down 2,160 years ago from
Okay.
Wikipedia. So it's giving it an extra 150 years orally being spoke around. So we'll ask
Or
this-
lost copies of it.
Yeah.
Could be lost
Well, just
copies,
orally.
yeah.
We know that someone just didn't make it up and write it down and there was 50 million people reading it because it wasn't, someone had to have known of it before, right? So that's about that. How old is the Book of Jubilee? So we'll ask how old is the Book of Genesis?
4,600 years old.
Right. Now it is a wee bit, it could be written down as early as that. So that's adding an extra 350 years. Well, there's 700.
So there's different. So when you talk about Genesis, though, it's not just one book, right? It's
Well,
pieces of this and
Well, we
that,
know
and-
that it's a combination of different books and stuff, but the argument that Richard was talking about, I don't say argument, the point that Richard was talking about in the previous show was he kept making references to saying that Genesis was first, Genesis came first, and I wasn't
Okay,
sure,
okay.
we weren't sure.
Here's what you need to do though to make you see this, because it's the Book of Jubilee. What's the oldest book of Genesis? That's what is the question you need to be asking the
And
system,
and you
right?
ought to use the word Torah. You ought to use the word Torah, not Old Testament, and not Genesis.
You could say what's the oldest book of Genesis.
That doesn't work. That's referring to a translation.
You think Genesis is the Christian translation? They don't. What do they call it? That
Right.
goes-
I
So
was gonna
you should
say,
be
yeah. What's the Hebrew name for it? I can't
Torah.
remember.
I was getting ready to ask
No.
you that, Minnow.
It's the books of Moses. Is the Torah, and then there's the Haftarah.
Right.
But Genesis has a
is-
name, and I forget what.
Genesis
the name
is just the first section of the books of Moses, but it has a name.
It's the first book of Moses.
Okay, the
Right.
Book of Torah, using the Book of Torah as a search term, took 450 years off it.
That's most fair.
So instead of it being possibly 300 years older than the Book of Jubilees, when we use the Book of Torah as an actual search function, it comes out, although some would place it in the composition in the Hellenistic period, 133 to 164. And that date puts it at exactly the same time as the Book of Jubilees.
Okay, but like when the Torah was written, the Torah wasn't written like whole cloth. This is where this story starts. They're greater canon mythology. It's greater.
The Book of Jubilees starts with a description of it saying, this is Moses at the top of a mountain being told this story by God. It doesn't start with, this is day one and all the rest of it, and some crazy person and Moses read it down. It starts with
It starts off as a
being
third person
told.
telling the story. That's how we're supposed to know what happened in Genesis and at all. That's the reason what we're supposed to know anything about Genesis is because. Sorry, I know, I ramble.
I feel like it needs to be explained that the 5 books of Moses are what is traditionally referred to as the Torah. There are like writings of the Torah that include Haftarah, which is like through like what is like Old Testament.
It is believed that Moses wrote the Torah, though. Yes.
No, it is not. Shut the fuck up. You're like
That's
not
a
letting
question. That was a question.
That's
No.
the tradition is that
No,
Moses wrote
stop.
them. Then give it opposition
Stop.
to it.
So the 5 books of Moses they refer to the beginning of the universe up until the death of Moses, or when Moses brings the promised people into the promised land. And they end with Moses dying. That therefore, like, I'm pretty sure that they're not ever like perceived to be written by Moses. They're not a first-hand account. They are just like the legend of. It's just the account of.
Christian tradition, not history.
No, they're thought to be history, but it's like the same way that like my family history, I know because my uncle like researched like 6 generations back, like where they like it's that type of history that is oral tradition, but obviously like there may have been, the idea is that like divine intervention kept them from having any mistakes or misinterpretations, but that is the general idea of them. Is just like we know this because like Great Aunt Margaret told us so, like the same way that we know because Great Aunt Margaret, who is like the trustworthy aunt, said so, is like
it's
way
tradition.
that we know.
Traditional.
So let me just ask you, Minnow, what do you think is the best way to figure out if one is predicated on the other, which one came first? The story of Genesis in the Jewish tradition, or Jubilees? How should we word that to get the best answer?
Yeah, see, and this is where I'm not a good person to ask because of my cultural like background, because my like guttural instinct is to be like, well, of course the books of Moses came first, duh. Books of Moses came first, duh. But that's like, I think that is part of my cultural upbringing, and so I don't know that like logically I would be able to separate those and
like, what if I said something like, which came first, the Jubilees or Job?
Ooh, that could be Jubilees. Job is
Okay.
happening. And Job is like that tradition that like you hear that like everybody like knows that tradition in the family, but like it isn't necessarily from the trustworthy aunt. So you're like, okay, like that.
Okay, so the Book of Jubilees, dating from about 2,300 years ago, contains material that is very similar to the narrative found in the Hebrew Bible, the Masoretic text, MT, specifically the Book of Genesis, and the first half of Exodus. The text in the Jubilee both adds to and omits data found in the Masoretic text. In addition, striking through features of Jubilee, it is its reliance on Jubilee 50-year cycle made up of 7 sets of weeks, and its reliance on a solely a solar calendar as opposed to the Bible's luni-solar configuration. This does indicate that the Book of Jubilees is several hundred years older than the Masoretic text. So,
Robbie had a question.
okay.
The reason I asked this question was, as I can say, Richard wanted to know the time and date, and Richard's opinion was of the fact that Genesis came first. I want to know, and maybe I missed it, maybe you did say it, Richard, but using, as you defined, the Book of Torah, rather than looking for the Book of Genesis, it shaved that time off it. It more aligned it with the Book of Jubilees timeline. So I want to know, are you still of the opinion that Genesis came first, or the Book of Torah came first over the Book of Jubilees, or would you be more leaning towards the idea that the time frame was very similar to when they come out?
I'm more now for the time frame is very similar.
That's kind of what I was going to say. Is I'm thinking about it, my brain is kind of leaning more towards these are 2 written accounts of the same thing. Therefore, they were contemporary stories.
So
but the problem with that, Minnow, is that there it seems that there is some anti-Hebrew or anti-Jewish ideas in Jubilees.
Okay.
So it seems.
So that's why they.
Like.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I could see why those aspects of the story would be kept out of the Torah.
From that prejudice, yeah.
You know, why, when we get into this conversation and talk about this stuff, why don't we ever discuss the Book of Giants? It's always when we talk about the Apocrypha and stuff, we talk about.
Well, this does go into the
Jubilees.
Nephilim. This will go into the Nephilim and the production of them and how they came to be in the earth and stuff.
Yeah.
We just haven't got there yet.
I like the Book of Giants. You guys need to talk about the Book of Giants specifically, Richard. For me, please.
Okay, and why is it special or different or weird or interesting?
It's got characters in it that are more like like characters from an epic than characters from like a creation narrative or something along those lines.
So it sounds more like a Greek mythos or something. Is that what you're saying?
It's compared to Gilgamesh a lot. So
okay,
yeah, I think you would enjoy it. But...
Sorry, Stephanie, I ran over you, and now you're muted.
You keep running over me. I got nothing to contribute anyway.
If I can just
you
say,
always do,
Richard.
I was gonna say that there are other giants besides the Nephilim. I can't remember what they're.
There's a whole Mayan tradition of giants as well. A lot of the
No. This is a Hebrew tradition of giants. Besides the Nephilim, I'm trying to remember who they are. It's actually, and the name translates to something like doctors.
I just know of the giants, like from like Noah's time, like the giant, but I don't know. I can't think of what they were.
I'll do a little bit of finagling and come up with it.
But they died in the flood. That was.
No. There were giants in the world in those days and after that.
Okay.
So I got names. I got names for these giants.
What is Torah and what is like just like traditionally it was like, well, that was, of course, that was, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So the names are Shimihaza. I'm just gonna put them in here, and you all can tell me how they pronounce.
That sounds like it has an extra syllable in it, probably.
Shimyaza. Yeah, there shouldn't be an I there, should there?
No, it's probably an apostrophe, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It depends on who translated it. Yeah.
Those are the big giants that in the story in the Book of Giants.
You'd like this, Bumblebee, in context of the giants. I don't know how much validity, but I've been doing a lot of esoteric reading and stuff to try and keep up with Richard, and literally know more about Richard's topic than Richard does, just so I can be an asshole to him. It's also interesting to me. It's why I do these shows. But someone was talking about giants. It was going down the route of giants and genetics and this, that, and the other, and the Nephilim and blah, 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 blah. It talked about the giants that the conquistadors found when they came over to America. And there's a lot of people that would give their records, a particular person in particular. They agree with everything he says, you know, but then there's this offshoot of giants, and people use his writings as evidence. So it's like, why is this crazy and that's not, so to speak? But the Denisovans, yes,
Yeah.
you know who I'm talking about. Yes, well,
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
not. Have we found a full Denisovan body? I don't think we have we?
No, we just have teeth. I think
Right.
there's like maybe a
Well, the
finger bone.
teeth. This is the thing. I haven't looked into this yet, right? Which is why I wanted to ask you. The teeth are slightly oversized, and this particular person took the size of the teeth and generated it up into a full person, you know, and not a giant, but a very oversized person.
How oversized?
I haven't a clue, man. It was it's not actually scholarly work, so it was just, I'm doing shit at work. Let's listen to some entertainment.
Yeah, just listening to some podcast with someone talking about
Savage.
the books that they read and stuff. Yeah.
Savage.
I dated a giant when I was in college, like a guy who had giganticism. Like he was like, I think he was like 7'3". He was like, they had to do surgery to like remove his pituitary gland so that he didn't like
Keep growing.
Yeah. Like there are like giants like do exist, like human giants. I think that we like think of them as like a mythical creature, but like dwarves and giants are
Yeah. They're just medical
People.
conditions.
yeah.
And yeah, it's just
What about elves? Now I'm curious. Do we know of any actual elves?
elves are astronomical phenomena up in the ionosphere.
I mean,
I think those are sprites.
I think
There's
I might
sprites
have
up there,
house
too.
elves. They did like take my shit when I was not nice to my.
Yeah,
I
they're
wasn't taking care of my house right.
the Rephaim and the Anakim.
The Raphaim were like the heroes of old. I have a
There you
video
go.
about them on my channel from way back with Jason from Dragons and Genesis. He talked a lot about them. We talked about them and the cherubim, and the Nephilim. Because there's more than just the Nephilim stomping around back then. The cherubim weren't the floaty little angel babies.
No, they were nasty little bastards.
Yeah.
Terrifying motherfucker.
Yeah, there's all sorts of
And the seraphim too. I mean, those are the guys with the mighty swinging swords at the gates of Eden. Woo! Keep out.
Then they have snake bodies or something. Seraphim.
In some tradition, yes, but not always.
Not like a naga though. Was it?
No.
Yeah.
I can't remember the Hebrew word for snake right now. It escapes me. I know it.
Is it snack?
Yeah.
No.
Snack.
Okay.
No.
I see.
Snack.
Are you sure? Because that sounds right.
It's not snack. It's snack.
You
Yeah,
need a
that's
tissue?
it.
Do you want a tissue?
You need like the C.
Definitely
Richard,
not.
Book of Jubilees, Angels, the search term. that come up. The Book of Jubilees narrates the genesis of angels on the first day of creation and the story of how a group, because it did mention the angels, it only just was one sentence, but then it does mention the story about how a group of fallen angels mated with mortal females, giving rise to the race of giants known as the Nephilim and their
Those are the
descendants.
Nephilim. Yeah.
So does that mean it's like Genesis, but from the perspective of like the angels?
No, but there is a Genesis out there from the perspective of the devil.
That would be from the same perspective as the angels at that point in time.
Isn't that what
Possibly.
Dante's Inferno is? Is
No, but
what's
Similar.
there's a story about the perspective of the devil, his fall. Shoot.
That was a show me
Divine
and Richard did. We used
Hey.
ChatGPT.
Well, it's Paradise Lost. It's Milton.
Yeah. Okay. So is that what I'm thinking
most
of?
of all, most of the bullshit
think I
we
was
think
getting
about
paired-
the devil is from Milton's Paradise Lost.
Yeah, I think I was getting Paradise Lost mixed with Dante's Inferno there in my
yeah,
brain. Dante's that's where the person goes on the tour of the 7 circles of hell, though, right?
right. Well, yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
And, well, it's
all 9
it's
levels, but yeah,
the Inferno's
9
part.
levels.
It's La Commedia Divina.
It's the
Divine Comedy.
It's the Divine Comedy.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it's Inferno is one part.
It's a 2-parter, yeah.
Purgatory is the other part, and Paradiso is the other part. Paradise.
One of those is really short, though, right?
What? Right, MathPig, what do you want?
Richard, how did you describe the Book of Jubilees in reference to the Jewish religion at the time?
Jubilees seems to me to be a lot of early Christianity is predicated on Jubilees. It looks like to me.
You referred to it as an
And-
offshoot.
I'd say it's an offshoot. Yeah.
Would you be interested to know that it was the lead thing that they used in the Asinine sect of Jews at Qumran in Palestine?
That actually would make a good bit of sense to me. Actually.
Hence the arm waving and screaming and stuff.
Yeah.
But
You
said
could
it
just
was
mute us.
anti-true. Tell me more about how it's like potentially anti-Semitic, and then this particular group decided.
I
to
didn't
take
say
it
that.
off.
I said
I did.
Right, Richard did.
I said that.
I didn't hear that.
That it's against Jewish tradition and the way that I understand that Jews look at specifically the first book of Moses, as it's not historic but numbered. That there's the idea in Jubilees of paradise being established on this planet.
There are lots of strains of Judaism floating around in first century Palestine.
That's
That's
almost
also
the
true.
reverse of some sects, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like the Essenes were one, you know.
Like I think it directly says that that paradise will be
Essenes are in the
established.
second
on-
temple, though.
What's that? Say it again.
The Essenes are in the second temple, though. That was not for a long time.
Which only supports that it's an offshoot, somewhat predicated on Jubilees.
I can see that.
Okay, so
It's
the people who-
interesting that it is showing like religion as like not necessarily.
It's only an offshoot in the sense that it hasn't the tradition hasn't survived to the present day.
Right.
Much in the same sense that Gnostic Christianity are offshoots in the sense that they didn't last, or they didn't follow through. But to the people that were practitioners at the time, it was completely Jewish, completely Judaism.
Well, that's what I'm
sure
reading
that
here.
I'm sure that Jesus considered himself a devout Jew.
That's what I'm reading
Well,
here.
I'm sure he did consider himself a Jew. I don't know if he would consider himself a devout Jew based on some of those stories, but yeah.
Well, according to his own lights, you know, it's like, oh yeah, this is Judaism. That's what I'm doing right here. This is Judaism.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
In the way that he's correcting Jews and saying that he has the actual Judaism, if you would allow that.
Yeah, but that's, you know, any teacher will proclaim that they're will be proclaiming that what they are preaching is true, and disagree. I mean, it's just like the Baptists are going to say they're Christians, and the Unitarians, well, not so much the Unitarians, but you know, the Baptists will say they're Christians.
JWs, those are the ones
and the Congregationalists will say they're Christians. And they won't agree with each other. No, you're not.
Oh, that was another point in the story of Jubilees that you just refreshed my memory. Something we just read today, that it does away with the idea that of grafting, that their church becomes the universal church, which is like in every religion around the world. That we have the true one, and everyone's going to adopt this eventually, or they go to hell. But Jubilees is saying that whatever group is like predetermined by God to be the chosen people, they'll be the only ones ever, which makes me think that at least that idea may have inspired Calvin somewhat.
Possibly.
A certain Calvin, someone.
Because that math hand. It's your channel, man. Why don't you just mute us?
I did try.
Or unmute yourself, either one, or
unmute
both.
Unmute yourself would probably be the best, Robbie.
I muted myself after I did try to talk. I did try. This demolish doctrine could take this and include it in their religion. The idea of waters and the idea of water being very important to yourself, Richard.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So every morning, the Asinines, the people who use this as their main language, I didn't mean everyone to go away. I'm just trying to talk about the Book of Jubilees. It is the Book of Jubilees Afterparty, you know.
I just have to go get a water.
Asinines ritually immerse themselves in water every morning. Waters, the word, very important. Right? Whether they believed it to be people, whether they believed it to be actual water, the idea is very important to them, right? A practice of the same of the mikvah for daily immersion, blah, 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 blah. They ate together after prayer, devoted themselves. You usually eat with me after we do a stream or go for a smoke. Charity, that is you. Benevolence. What's your word with benevolence? How would you define that?
How would I define benevolence?
Yeah, well, if I'm going to use it as a description of you, I would like to know what your definition of it is.
Acting accurately on what the human animal precisely is.
Okay, so whenever you scream wrong at something, please just let me finish. Forbid the expression of anger. You do desperately try to not express anger.
Except with Jill. Yeah.
Studied the books of the elders. You do that. Preserve secrets. You do that. Mindful of the names of ancient or the angels and kept in their sacred writings. Angels are important to you, and you're writing your own book of the Bible. You're writing your own translation.
Yes, but not preserving secrets. I believe in loosing secrets.
You've tried to give us a go on ahead, Savage.
So the mikvah, this is one of those things that I feel like Jesus was like really like big on. So John the Baptist supposedly started this like before Jesus. Mm-hmm. That like you didn't need to like go to the Hasidim to immerse yourself. You can just like go and wash yourself of your sins and basically experience mikvah in just a river or just any type of a body of water. So I feel like that is like something that is like a thing that it's just slightly different because like that's.
Ooh.
There was a dude who was really big on that. And
Another wee thing, just to show some bias with the way that we find this and my statements that I've made earlier to take some things back, we found out that the Asinines are a sect offshoot from Judaism. They were also split up into 1, 2, and 3, and maybe more smaller sects. This one is the most disputed of the disputed, and special practice of keeping their literature in caves. So this is an offshoot of an offshoot, and they are the people who generally loved this book and kept it in caves. So the fact that I made the statement earlier that the Dead Sea Scrolls had 14 copies of this may be a show of biasm. It may be a show that this is an offshoot of an offshoot of an offshoot. So the fact that I'm making the statement it's very popular. Now it does say it's popular, but I'm giving it more validity than what it did. Who left?
And this is where Jubilee came from? Or no?
No,
Or
we
is it-
don't know who made the Dead
But
Sea. We don't know
but
who.
they are-
We don't know who put the books in the cave for the Dead
Okay.
Sea Scrolls. We are guessing that it's an Asinine sect of. I
And
think
then-
it said in the last page on Asinines that the Dead Sea Scrolls has been referred to as the Asinine Library. Somewhere up here it said.
Yeah, I see it.
Right? So it's there you go. Which are commonly believed, there's a doubt, Dead Sea Scrolls commonly believed to be an Asinine library. So it's not a mainstream
Okay.
And maybe
Jewish people. And then just looking down through the different subsects of Asinine, I've came across this one. And this is also a sect. And if you look back here, you see about Pliny saying that they were located in this area, and that's also where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found.
And this particular sect.
So it's
considers
not a
this
direct,
the holy book.
he said these are here, but he's saying that this sect was around at this time where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. So
The scrolls themselves have a whole bunch of scrolls devoted to the rules of the community at Qumran. So one ought to be able to figure out exactly who they were. My understanding is, and this is from listening to Dr. Kip. Did you? Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I'm creating my own religion here based on Richard, because this.
Yeah,
this
okay. I'm since you've making gestures, I want to be sure I'm not cutting you off.
Oh
because you have
no!
something
I'm
critical
cutting
to
you off
say.
because I'm just trying to. I'm following the research. As me and Richard said, we were going to do this and then see about different sects and things like that. And Richard wanted more information on the Book of Jubilees, and I wanted to do a deeper dive.
I mean, the person who's the expert on the Dead Sea Scrolls is Kip Davis. That's his field.
Okay, well, I'm just following
So-
a line. I'm sure his name will pop up, but I'm just reading talking points because we're not going to be going for that long. So it's just to give us a just of idea. I don't know if Richard can see this, but how would you pronounce that word, Richard?
Poorly. Magharia.
Right. Well, the Maharia,
Sounds like a drink.
margarita.
Sounds
right?
like margarita, yeah.
Yeah. So the
Yeah,
margaritas, that's perfect. We're going to call them margaritas because that's easier. So the margaritas were a minor Jewish sect that appeared in the 1st century BC. Their special practice was keeping all their literature in caves. The Margaritas believed that God was too sublime to mingle with matter. Thus, they did not believe that God directly created the world, but an angel which represents God created the earth. They made their own commentaries on the Bible and laws, and they've been made part of the Asinine. So, Richard, your thoughts on the idea that God's too sublime, he ain't matter, and an angel that represents him created earth?
I actually keep that very strongly, that God's a set of standards that angels follow.
So
So there is no way for that God to interact with reality without physical beings doing the actual work.
So the people who held the Book of Jubilees at their highest esteem, they thought something very similar to yourself.
Well, that makes me know that they're right.
So you have to. Oh, look, we've got Happy Sammy. No, don't make yourself go away. Oh, no. We're not having praise. No praise. Get it away the fuck.
Come back, Sammy. Come back, Sammy.
No, pretty face. I said, here's a pretty face and click the fuck. No, we're not having that either. Move the fuck on. Fat Wild Heart. We don't want Fat Wild Heart. Come on, move on. Okay, I'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Oh, gosh. Like, that's better.
It is better.
Thanks, Sammy.
Hello.
Oh, loving the beard. Loving the beard. So yes,
I'm
this
gonna
particular
shave
sect.
today, actually.
This particular
enjoy it
sect
while
of a
it's there.
sect, Richard,
Yeah.
that was written from your perspective now in and around the same time. I'm thinking the analogy that I used earlier, that this entire area was split into 4. They all get given the story, and this one kept it true or kept. You see the analogy now? It's becoming.
Yeah, show everyone the chart so everyone knows what you're talking about there.
Everyone can see the chart.
No, the chart you made.
What?
The 4-section chart. It's not on screen.
No, the 4-section chart I drew in space.
Boop.
Oh, we got a Batman.
Odin.
Who did we? Oh,
That's definitely Odin. I can tell by the background noise. It's always the same pitch. It's interesting. Don't know what it is.
it's all gone.
Okay,
It's
so
The
terrible
computer,
signal.
just to let Sammy know, Sammy, the AI has decided that you're not important enough to be on screen. I'm sorry.
that's true. It kicked him for Batman. Weird.
Yeah.
And where's Stephanie over there? Okay, Stephanie's back.
And to think, I already pledged my allegiance to our incoming AI overlords, and this is how they treat me.
No
Well,
respect. Or
that-
maybe they're just granting your friendship now.
No, this AI's my AI,
Oh.
and he's pissed off you weren't here for St. Paddy's Day, so, you know,
Fair enough.
you got
Fair enough,
kicked,
yeah.
you know.
Okay, so
have-
now I'm finding out that I'm adopting something of the view of the Margaritavilles, unknowingly.
Can we
but-
stop with the butchering the name? It's like
No, this is what we do in this show. We find
but
out better names.
we do offensive
Well,
things.
how do
We
we,
don't do
say
offensive
it, Minna?
things. We
You
say
tell
things
us.
that are easier. It's not offensive. It's not offensive in any way for me to admit that I can't say that word properly. So we have a
Okay.
word that we know what we mean. Words are
Is
descriptors.
it like a ha? Is it macharia?
Yes.
I think that's a long A sound, so Margaritas, something like that.
Yeah, I'm
You're
assuming
muted,
that.
Stephanie. Can see your mouth moving.
A long A is not a change in Hebrew. It's not a change in intonation. It's a change in length. Macharia.
Oh, okay.
So, Richard, you might be a Margaritan.
Apparently, I'm partially a parrot head, but I always was a parrot head, so that's not.
Wasting away and Macharia.
What was the name of the people or the person that you said was very good? Just if any of these names line up, Stephanie?
Pardon?
The person who you said was an expert on the Dead Sea Scrolls. There's some references here. I was
Kip-
one.
Kip Davis. Kip Davis.
No, I don't see his name there.
He's not old enough to be there.
No, I was just wondering. That's all I was wondering. We've got loads
Yeah.
of stuff.
If he was old and dead, he'd be there. Or old or dead, he'd be there, but he's not. So
Did he make any pictures or artwork that have went up in value because he died? No.
Richard, you don't agree with God is too sublime to mingle with matter, do you?
Yeah.
not exactly, but that a set of constructs can't.
Yeah. Richard's definition of God, by definition, can't mingle with matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's no direct
Loosey goosey, but
well there's
Righto.
no direct way
Goosey gander.
for wisdom. There's no
Loosey
direct way
goosey,
for
goosey
wisdom to like change something in reality, but you can act on wisdom to change things in reality.
But couldn't you say it was the wisdom that changed you?
Yes, you can, but it's, I mean, expressively, yeah.
Right. The word sublime, I would say, is like, you know, in the literature that it would be written in, right? Just assuming context. Sublime would be amazing, fantastic, holy, just, you know, absolutely just lovely. I'm not even going to say what I just thought there when I'm a dirty pervert.
I was like
Please
gobby
don't, yep.
noises. Sorry,
was.
I said
But, you know, it's sublime, right? So it's wonderful. It's great. It's the most amazing thing ever. Richard would agree with that statement. It's too good to mingle with matter, as in take a physical form, as in become this. It's...
But once you say too good, I would disagree.
Yes, I know. Well, I defined what I was going to say, and then the good. Think the good as everything I don't want to say the whole statement again. I have a weird way that I talk.
So I'm confused. So is God an ideal,
Under
like kind of like a constitution, or is it an actual entity that it where even though it doesn't directly interact with us, it interacts through I guess let's just call it
I have a
digital downloading into its angels, and the angels do its job? Like, which one is it?
I have a desperate need to speak for Richard because I want to speak, and because I'm antsy, and but
Go
I think
ahead.
To do a synopsis for Richard, and Richard can do the thumb thing because sometimes he can be long-winded. Richard would believe that God would be a set of ideals. God would be not rules but guidelines to go by, and that each Jesus takes on a personification of the Father, which would be an angel, a person moving forward and using these things of God, but God itself is an idea, something to live towards, something to work towards, you know. There's no physical personification of God. God is more a council of Jesuses all talking and thinking and being and working towards being God, which, like a constitution, but I fucked up there. Yeah, no.
You were good till you said being God.
Yeah, no, I fucked up at the end. I stopped. I started to ramble and I just stopped. Yeah, I preempted the down thumb. I knew I was rambling, but up until then, that's yeah.
It was good. But I don't think that addressed what Batman actually said. Or I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, so that's why I asked the question, because like you can have ideals, right, and live by those ideals. Like a constitution, right?
Sure.
It's just a with ideals and basically words that a country exists by, that the people who decide to live by it just go by it, right? And I identify with it. So is it that, or is there an actual entity in whichever form it might exist? I don't know.
Okay, so the way that I understand it is angels having physicality can act on physicality. They temporarily, in alignment with Yahweh, act on an earth for end times, which is why Yahweh is temporary and can rest. It only applies during end times. So it's talking about the collection of an earth and interaction with human beings on an earth. And that's all that it's talking about. In fact, I don't even hold it as a permanent God in heaven. It's a situational God.
So basically, it's just an ideal in the strictest sense. There's like no persona or entity that exists.
If you mean entity as conscious, there is no conscious entity which is that Yahweh, as far as I can tell.
Okay, thanks for clearing that up.
But anyone, just like you can act on humanitarianism, and the group of people who do that are humanitarianism. You could say it that way.
Yeah, fair enough. I get the idea. Again, it's just one of those things where, as somehow what people see as divine and what people see as like spiritual and stuff like that, how people define those things, it can be somewhat all over the place, at least in my opinion, anyways. And so I just wanted to get a full, simplified explanation as to like, what the God would be, how it would exist, basically.
Judging by your question, I don't think you had any of my belief wrong.
No, no, you're right about that. Again, it was just one of those things where, just for clarification, I just needed to make sure that I understood it.
Just out of curiosity, do you take some God as a conscious entity?
Yes, but not necessarily in the I guess the typical sense. I think it's conscious in the sense that it uses an avatar to express its consciousness.
Are you sometimes that avatar?
I wouldn't say yes. I wouldn't know necessarily, to be honest with you, because I wouldn't know
that's
whether
not
or
the
not.
question. Even if you're accidentally correct, you're still correct. Could you sometimes be that avatar?
Could.
Okay.
I could be. I just, there's no way I would know.
Well, let's take it to the extreme. When you're telling a truth to a child, which to you is obvious and to the child is not, you are in that moment that entity.
I guess you can take that view. I don't have anything against it, especially if I espouse to, I guess, the ideals that's associated with the existence of the entity itself.
Like the standard way to tie your shoes with laces is a very standard thing, and as long as you perform it correctly and you can teach it to the child, you have taught them something objective, which is good. Made their life easier.
I heard a sigh. Okay. I'll shut up for now.
That might have just been me looking at this to see how many people's watching and then looking back again. I think you are having a conversation and I'm doing this, and them two are having a conversation and then nobody's watching because everyone's left. So I'm going to end the live stream but continue the conversation backstage because I'm interested in listening. I hope we want to stay and talk, but other people aren't watching. It's just there's no fucking point in stuff having it live.
Can we give them a round robin before you close it?
I don't know what sexual term you're referring to. Is that like South Park Red Rocket with the
But I'm down whatever it is. You know that.
I forgot Sammy was here. You get kicked to the backstage for fuck's sake. So, Richard wants to talk about bestiality. Go on ahead, Richard.
Yes.
We've already been demonetized. You said Jew about 50 fucking times, right?
I believe that they stand on all fours and move backwards and forwards, Richard.
That's the clip. That's absolutely. I was referring to horses.
That makes sense. We have an Irish one over here where you push the sheep at a cliff edge. The sheep will always push back.
Of course they would. Yeah, but I wanted to one more time in their absence. 1,000 subscribers on HiveSci. Look out for the 1,000 subscriber celebration. And Bree said it would likely been when, MathPig?
This weekend, some stage.
This weekend, sometime. Stephanie, you probably have something you want to say right here.
Not much. I'm what am I going to be on? Something on the 25th.
I saw you got a not bullying, something about.
Yeah, that's it.
Is it bullying of some sort? A specific kind of bullying? I'm thinking.
My mind is a complete blank right now.
Right.
I can find it.
Sammy, what have you got happening?
Nothing planned.
Never.
No. Just perhaps my usual daily chat.
I love the fact that you have give your link for your StreamYard's moderator out to the absolute maximum amount of people. So when you feel like anything, you come in and people are using your StreamYards, and you don't have to check any YouTube or check any of that. You just come in and go, I'm adding myself. Hey, I'm here.
Yeah,
Now I'm live
That's
in
what
my
happens
channel.
when you're a part of the hive mind.
you've caught on, MathPig.
Yeah, and then you
I
go
give it
live
to
on
all
your
the-
channel, steal all the views from everyone else, then go to sleep or go to work, stop going live, and then come back in and go, I'm doing it again. I love
Probably
it.
go on dates with William too.
Oh, no.
You've got
Sammy
my
has the
MO
right
down.
idea. Get up them fucking watch hours long before the subscribers. Then you just need their numbers, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Savage, you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, where's the crafty channel link? Put the crafty channel link in the chat.
It's just Menno Arts and Crafts.
Well, people are lazy. They'll not look it up.
Well, I'm lazy too.
Yeah, so it's Skeptic Haven on the 25th.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Also,
Producer
I'm
Wes.
working on a video for my regular channel, but
Savage
That'll
Arts
be-
and Crafts. Lots of old Nintendo stuff, old Doom stuff.
Menno Arts and Crafts.
And the topic is, what is queer baiting?
Hey.
What does that mean?
Well, sort of queer baiting,
Yeah.
going after LGBTQ people, calling them names and whatnot.
Okay.
That wasn't the definition of queerbaiting that I was taught, but that it definitely is a thing that happens. So that's just-
Okay, Richard, another wee roundup. What have you got happening?
I'm going to be on Atheist Edge the 27th. I'm judging, moderating a debate on Snake Was Right's channel, where they host only debates.
It's a judging.
And
Yeah, they've
then
a
of
weird
course I've
format.
got Tuesday MathPig and Wednesday MacandBigZebra.com.
And an
That's what's going
upcoming
on with me.
debate that the dates must be decided and the topic must be decided upon between.
Yes, I
Jill.
foolishly agreed under MathPig's persuasion to debate Jill.
On Let's Farm. Okay, to give we Let's Farm.
If Jill
You're
agrees.
debating Jill?
No, Jill has been right. Let's Farm is a debate channel that I want to put my name behind. And oh, we lost everybody. Somebody left. Somebody. They all just flipped out. Let's Farm is running a debate server along with a few other people that have been in the community for a very long time that I very much respect. They have a Discord server with 2,000 to 3,000 people in it. They have debates and discussions all the live long day. And they are moving to YouTube and they want to start promoting this and doing that and stuff. And I want to put a wee bit of weight behind it. And I do feel that a dumpster fire at the start of a channel really helps get the viewership up, gets the subscriptions up and stuff like that. I did the same with Richard. I put him up against Asshole 104. Every now and again, you need to get a wee boost, get the people in, get some influence around. And Richard against Jill on what color is the fucking sky is going to get some.
Perfect.
It's
If it
perfect.
bleeds, it leads. It's perfect. I love it.
You know, and yeah, I'll produce. We'll make it pretty. We'll get some people in. We'll get the. It's a new channel that I want to put some weight behind. I respect them an awful lot. So Richard has decided to do the samurai thing. Richard's gonna fall on that sword and get angry possibly, and
They don't fall under swords. They cut their stomachs open.
it's a metaphorical phrase, you know. But cut their stomach, cut their throat. Richard's literally gonna feel like killing himself by the end of it. And then we'll do an after
Oh, I
party.
don't
We'll
think
have some-
so. Richard's got a strong stomach.
I've got a video recording of Richard threatening to meet Jill in real life and kill him. Right?
Yeah, I offered to fly him to where I am. Yes, I did.
And have a duel.
Now by kill, I meant properly hand him his own ass.
Right.
That's what I actually meant.
Yeah, Richard was going by slave laws in the Bible, you know. Beat them! If they're come back in a couple of days, it's okay, you know. Right, and on that slavery murder, we're going to end the stream because there's someone in the background want to bring them in stuff, a lot of respect and all. So, appreciate it. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for the after party. I'm glad that the main question that we had before we left the last stream was who came first, the chicken or the egg? And we've decided that they both appeared in around the same time. Well, not decided, but Richard's convinced of that. So,
The
that's
egg
one of them's
came far, far before the chicken.
can you let me fucking end, Sammy? Shut up. It's not all about you. Thanks
Jennifer.
everybody for coming. Shut the fuck up, Sammy. Think for yourselves, people. Love yous all. Where's the fucking button? There we go. We're done.